to Ask Mom's podcast. We are not professionals, but we can share our experience and remind you that
You're awesome.
If you feel a need, though, to get some professional support, please reach out to a qualified medical expert. We are talking all things motherhood, the good, the tough, and everything in between. And if you feel the kids aren't listening, it can be so frustrating. We have a few ideas and things to think about in today's episode that's focusing specifically on what to do when they're not listening. Also known as help, my kids aren't listening to me.
Okay, wait, what? Sorry, I wasn't listening. Oh. Welcome back, friends, and thanks for tuning in. So today we're talking about something.
You got me good. Sorry about that.
Yep, sorry. We've all been through and are going through when your kids really just aren't listening. You could be standing right in front of them talking and it's like you're invisible. Anybody else relate?
Yes, hand raised here. Whether they're playing with toys, watching TV, or just plain not cooperating, it can feel like you're talking to a brick wall sometimes, right? You feel tuned out.
So do. So let's talk about what to do when they're not listening. But it's just as important to figure out why they're not listening.
Agreed, Kim. So let's start with, is it really about listening? Because I'm sure if you were to say, hey, come and look at the new puppy, or look at this big present that I just bought you, there would be no problem with listening, right?
Yeah, for sure. So it's more like cooperation or maybe even compliance. So first off, we've all been there, right? Impatient, frustrated. Give yourselves a pat in the back and some grace.
Yeah.
When you think about it, sometimes it makes sense when kids don't listen.
Exactly. So maybe we should start by putting ourselves in their shoes. What it's like for me. Like if you're laying on the couch, you just came home from work, you're really tired, you're finally on the couch, you're reading your book, you're having a cup of tea, and then out of nowhere, your spouse says to you or your partner says to you, hey, Kim, can you go unload the dishwasher and get me a glass of water? No.
No. Hard no.
Hard no.
And then imagine further if they say, hey, Kim, that your attitude is not acceptable and you have a listening problem. So you're being disrespectful and you just lost your iPad for the week.
That's okay. I use a phone.
So if that was me, I'd have some pretty strong words for my partner.
Me too.
Be seriously debating saying these strong words out loud.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
So same type of scenario now at kid level,
yes,
right?
Totally.
So here they are playing blocks, and all I have to offer is to say, hey, time to get dressed, put your blocks away,
Woohoo.
right? I mean, you probably say it nicer, but you get
Yeah.
what I mean, right? So even at a young age, kids are young people with the built-in need for respect, independence, and some kind of control, even if they don't realize it yet. So they need to be seen. Like we need to be seen, they need to be seen, not just ordered about well, right? Yeah.
There's more cooperation when taking an interest, right? Connect with them at that moment. Like if they're playing with their blocks, say, hey, cool, I see you're playing with your blocks. That's super fun. The building you made is awesome.
Yeah.
So then say, okay, hey, so it's time to get dressed.
Yeah.
So much different from the disconnected and cold, okay, time to get dressed.
Right. Sometimes kids are just distracted. So especially younger ones, they can get so absorbed in whatever they're doing, whether it's playing with toys, watching a screen, or even just daydreaming. Sometimes they're not ignoring you. They just literally don't hear you because they're focused on something else.
I agree 100%. I remember times when I called my toddler's name and he was just so focused on playtime to even notice. So what's worked for me is getting down to the level, like physically, get down on the floor or wherever they are and make the eye contact. It's almost like a reset for them to realize, whoa, when did you get here, Mom?
Yeah. Knowing your son, he was probably thinking about how am I going to build an engine or something. But anyway, that's a great point. And if they're watching TV or playing a game, maybe try turning it off or maybe pausing it just for a break in that attention. And they know it's time to listen. So my suggestion is as you're turning it off or pausing, you let them know that you'll turn it back on. So it's like not forever. So you don't hear, what are you?
Yeah.
You just think, I'm just going to turn it off for a second while I ask you a question.
Good idea.
It still might not go well.
The odds are.
but the odds are better than the alternate. So otherwise, you could be dealing with an argument versus just competing for their attention, right? So then you're dealing with all of that instead of just trying to communicate whatever it is you want to communicate.
Oh, yeah, by using positive reinforcement and clear consequences also, right?
Yeah.
This is like a reality check here. And it's not as easy to do. But sometimes kids don't listen because they know there are no consequences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or they don't care about the reward. If the kids know what's at stake and it's important to them, whether it's a reward for listening or a consequence for not listening, they're more likely to pay attention to you.
Yeah, exactly. So positive reinforcement works wonders. Like if you put your shoes away, you can have 5 extra minutes of screen time, like something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's a clear trade-off. But when they don't listen, there kind of needs to be a follow-through, whatever that looks like at your house, right?
Yeah. So you can't just say, okay, if you don't do this, you're going to lose your tablet, and then let them keep it. So they need to understand that actions do have consequences, and that'll actually help them take you seriously next time, right? So you've got to follow through on what you said. Otherwise, it's useless.
Yeah.
And I know that's difficult and way easier to give in and give them back their tablet back or whatever. But think of the consequences if you don't, right?
Yeah.
It's just going to get harder and harder and harder.
And then it opens it up to, well, you let me keep it last time.
I know.
So
So you got to be a little tough here. You got this, moms.
yeah. And giving a child a choice is powerful because it gives them the feeling of being in control. It's an effective way to engage cooperation versus like they're feeling that they're being controlled, right? So, for instance, it's time to get dressed. Would you rather put the blue shirt on or the red shirt? Like instead of saying, pick up your toys, I might say, isn't playing Legos and cars so fun? It's time to pick up the toys now. Do you want to pick up the Legos or the cars first?
Because you don't always like being told what to do. And natural rebels like Matthew probably would find a challenge as well. So this way, by offering that choice, you've connected with them, but also you're making them feel more in control, right? So they can decide. It's still a win for you because they're getting the task done.
That's right. And I'm sure we've all learned the hard way that raising my voice or getting frustrated, it only makes things worse. So, well, actually, in my case, it's a joke because apparently if I raise my voice, I'm funny and I'm not threatening. So my son told me that I sound like a cartoon character when I get upset. And he and my husband think it's funny, like that's true. The dog doesn't even listen to me. So I don't know. I don't like being that person anyway, but apparently when I lose it, it's funny. It's not threatening. So what's worked better for me is staying calm but firm. Like if I use that quiet tone and it's like, excuse me, and there's a big pause, it's like, uh-oh, she means business. But if I'm like, rah, 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 then it's like a joke.
It is difficult at times. We get that. So do those 3 deep breaths and just kind of close your eyes, focus. I find that keeping my tone neutral and steady does help them understand I'm not playing around, but I'm also not letting frustration control me. So it's like setting a boundary without being, right?
That's a good point. Letting their actions control
That's right.
your mood.
Yeah. Now, if we could
You're
learn
the
that.
parent and you're in control.
Exactly. Now, if we could do that in the rest of our life, everywhere we go, that we're not letting actions control us. What a power.
Let's start with the kids.
So it's a good life lesson for them as well, right?
Yes.
They see you're not screaming, but just talking calmly. Yeah.
So being calm helps them feel safe, too.
Mm-hmm.
And it also teaches them how to handle emotions in tough moments. So if, we're a screamer, they might turn out to be a screamer. So the more consistent we are with staying calm, the more they learn how to regulate themselves, too. So they'll also be more focused on what you're trying to communicate, right?
Yeah.
Versus being worried about, oh, I'm in trouble, which also takes their focus away.
Yeah. And that's
if you're
just not fun.
shouting, their back's against the wall,
Right.
and they're like, what's going to happen to me?
Yeah.
And they're not really thinking about what you want to communicate.
They're defensive, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
Poor
agree.
little things.
Exactly.
We love kids.
Yes. One mistake that we do make, though, is giving long, drawn-out instructions. Like, the odds are they're not writing things down.
Yeah.
So their attention spans aren't exactly long. So keep these directions short and clear. It helps them understand, and they can act more quickly. Yeah, unless, like I said, they've got a notepad. They can't take all that in.
No,
Just
so
short
true.
instructions.
So true. So instead of saying, could you please go upstairs, make your bed, put your dirty clothes in the hamper, and then come back down. As you said, Kim, maybe break it down into steps, right? Please go upstairs and make your bed. And then once that's done, great. Now can you put your dirty clothes in the hamper? It's more manageable for them.
And it makes the tasks feel less overwhelming too, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's not as intimidating when you've got little short things to do. You can do this, you got this, and then you feel proud of yourself because you did that.
Right.
So it's like a little win with each step, and that's always motivating. Details too, such as like put the toys in the blue toy box or put these in the red drawer, clarifies and avoids any interpretation issues as well.
Yeah, and it teaches them direction, right? Very subtly teaches direction. So, and you know what, though? Sometimes kids just forget, especially if they're in the middle of something they enjoy. So giving them a gentle reminder like, hey, you still need to clean up your toys can help, but don't let it slide. They still need to follow through.
Yeah, I agree. Like, what if on their way they see the cat, so they stop and play with your cat for a while, and then it's like, oh, well, I have no idea what I was doing, so we'll just keep playing with the cat.
You must have a camera in my house, because that's me.
So a reminder is great, but we can't assume that they'll do it after that. So how about getting something like a fun timer with a cute duck quack quack sound at the end of it? So when that timer goes off and you hear the quack quack quack, you kind of maybe will giggle.
It's not you saying it. Agreement
exactly.
That when it quacks, good thinking.
And it's fun and it's cute and it's not annoying, right?
Yeah.
So it maybe, and then that eye contact, get down on their level too.
Yeah.
So you're looking at them and then you got this duck quacking and
we
direct
need
connection.
Grandchildren, quite yet, but yeah.
So you're not just talking to the air.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I know, and fun. Yeah.
Did you think of that?
I did. Like, who doesn't like that?
Yeah. Yeah, Matthew's quacking out there.
You're right.
And sometimes you just need a break.
Yes.
So if things aren't working and both of you are getting frustrated, it's okay to just maybe step away for a minute, right? Take a breath, give them a minute to calm down, and then approach the task again.
When you're starting to feel overwhelmed and a little angry, take a break.
Yeah.
And kids often act out or resist when they're overwhelmed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or when they're tired. Taking a breather can be helpful for everybody. Come back, try again with a fresh perspective, those deep, calming breaths again.
And read the room.
Read the room.
Read the room.
Yeah. Try to catch your focus and take a look. See how everybody's doing, what everybody's feeling, what the facial expressions are like in their body language.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes there's challenges associated with not listening, like transition. Okay, so what I mean by that is transitions are really hard. She's laughing. Are you laughing?
No.
Yes, you are. Oh, she's so funny. Anyway, but this is serious.
Yes.
Because transitions, I never thought of this. I saw this online, Dr. Becky again, but she was saying sometimes when kids don't listen, there's a reason, and one of the reasons could be transitions. So it means losing one thing and kind of having to move on to the next thing.
That makes sense, right? Because transitions aren't always to something you're looking forward to or that's fun, right? Transitioning to bath time, now you're associating that night is coming, means it's going to be bedtime. But if we can use that transition time, kind of like, hey, we get to play in the bath with all our cool bath toys. And then when we go to bed, we get our favorite story, the next chapter, and we can, just talk and cuddle with, mom or dad.
Yeah.
Or putting your shoes on, right? That means I'm going to have to say goodbye to my mom and dad and go to school. But remind them that they'll be seeing their friends at school, or give them something to look forward to, like I put an extra treat in your snack bag, something like that.
Yeah.
So just keeping these kinds of things in mind softens us a little bit, reducing our frustration and motives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And helps the kids feel more comfortable too. That's the whole being empathetic thing, right?
Right.
Helps us better understand where these hesitations are coming from. They're not just, digging their heels in and saying, no, I don't want to do my bath. I don't want to go to school.
They're anticipating something,
Yeah, maybe not fun. But if we switch that to anticipating something fun, then win-win.
So exactly. So you could say to your child, getting to bath has been tricky. So when something's hard for me, so this is me talking to the child, when something's hard for me, I practice in advance. So you can arrange practicing getting ready for bath at a really odd time where your child knows it's just practice. Like they don't think, oh, is she tricking me to take a bath?
Right,
No.
right.
They know it's just a practice.
Yeah.
And when bath time comes, you've gone through the motions earlier, fully dressed, of course, and just walking through the steps of bath time. So it just eliminates that fear of, or that thought of, when I take a bath, I know that I'm going to be going to bed and maybe it'll be in the dark. And, like their little minds go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this way, it's just taking maybe that element a little bit away from that with a different thought as they're going through the transition.
Yeah, I like that. You're taking the fear out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they already know what's going to happen and not what their imagination is thinking is going to happen, right? You can just say like, hey, sweetie, okay, bath time like we practiced. Yay. Would you like to run to the bath or do you want me to zoom you to the bath? Stay engaged. Listening and the cooperation is much more likely when everybody is more comfortable and it's a happy time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now we switch over to boundaries versus listening or boundaries. So not listening when you ask them to stop. Okay. So things like throwing food, throwing water at meal times. So this is more around boundaries versus listening. So again, with listening to Dr. Becky, doing something over and over again, asking them not to, is not about not listening, but rather it's a boundary challenge, right? There might be a skill not yet developed, and it's making that hard for them, to stop. They're just not capable of stopping.
We can be proactive and understanding and use the boundary setting with compassion and empathy. So no yelling. We can just assert our authority as the parent to stop it from happening again, right? Like, I won't let you do this versus we don't, or please stop.
Yeah, you're taking control. So
Yeah.
exactly, Kim.
Mm.
So here's an example of the difference, right? So if our child runs into the street, we would run and grab them out of harm's way, of course, and hold our child communicating, I won't let you. I won't let you run in front of that car. We are teaching them to stay safe and make good decisions. So we have to make those decisions when they can't. We have to set up those boundaries.
That's being a parent, right?
Yeah.
It's not always easy and fun.
No.
It's tough.
And you don't always recognize
No.
when, you know, these, like, I never thought of this, quite frankly. Like,
Yeah.
I was reading through this, and I never, actually, it was a podcast I was listening to. And I never really thought of it that way, you know? And this is kind of why we do this, right? Kind of research stuff, and then the light goes on, and it's like, oh, man.
Right.
And we apply it to our experience. And then, you know, hopefully it helps somebody out there to avoid having to deal with this kind of stuff or get frustrated when they do have to deal with it.
And not beat yourself up for doing other things, but just go, okay, I'm not perfect. Right, that's right. But maybe I can try this.
Yeah.
The boundaries are not telling them what not to do, but what we will do.
Exactly.
So you want to put that positive spin on it. I won't let you throw that on the floor. I won't let you run into the street. Instead, I will help you learn not to do that. So be proactive, be a team.
Yeah, like with kids throwing, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Before heading to like if you know your child throws food, before you even go to the high chair, in their room before mealtime, you can say, hey, I notice it's hard for you to keep food on the tray. Yeah. Or, you know, I know it's so fun to throw things to see where they go and where they land. So maybe before dinner, let them go to go with them in their room, let them toss some stuffed animals or even tissues or something. Like, just let them toss stuff. And then let's get all that throwing out before dinner because we can't throw food.
Mm-mm.
Right?
That's right. So here's the thing, my darlings. Food stays on the tray or in your mouth. If it's too difficult to keep your food on the tray, let's practice eating one piece at a time until you can do that. Yeah. Maybe this won't work and you need a different version of the boundary. At that point, maybe just take away the tray, piece of food, and just let them have one at a time. And once you've learned to not throw your food on the floor, then we will bring more.
Yeah. And this shows them that, you know, I'm helping them to make good decisions.
Yeah.
Even though they don't get it at the time, right? No. I'm a parent, so that's my job. Mm-hmm. Help you make good decisions.
That's right. So
communicating that I notice that they like to throw food in advance. It's fun to see where it goes, so we understand why they're doing it. Throw the toys instead, because again, I won't let you throw food.
say your little one won't put on their coat, right?
Right.
Try the close your eyes trick in gaining your child's cooperation, right?
Right.
Everybody, including the little ones, like to feel respected, seen, in control. Here's an example. Say you're at work and your boss is looking over your shoulder and says, like, you've done all this wrong. You're the worst. Like, what are you even thinking? The font's wrong. The numbers are wrong. Yeah. And then your boss still stands right behind you waiting for you to make all the corrections, right? That's like always super fun. We love that. Yeah. Not. So that's challenging to be scrutinized, right? For one thing, but would feel better to have the distance. Like if they let you make the changes yourself, you'd be a lot more comfortable and relaxed.
So you have to say and then
like just
bugger off.
Get away from me. Yeah. Shoo, go away. Yeah.
And that's the same for kids, right? So for sure. So now it's time for Zach to put on or time for Matthew to put on his jacket.
Yes,
right?
But he won't.
And you might say, oh, Matthew, it's time for you to put on your jacket. I'm going to close my eyes. And when I open my eyes, if your jacket's on, oh my goodness, maybe I have to do a silly dance or something because you did such a good job putting on your jacket. So maintain this position until your child will likely put on the jacket.
And when he does,
yes,
Mom or Dad, give up that silly dance.
Gotta live it up. You gotta live up to it.
Like save it for special occasions when you need to do it, right?
Yeah.
So we actually give them control and independence by closing our eyes because we're communicating that we trust them to actually follow through on what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
And then adding that element of fun and playfulness also helps engage. They love it when we're willing to play with them and be silly with them, right?
Because they're kids, right?
Not sure if it would work with my boss, but...
So, we're laughing at Matthew.
Yes.
So really though, Kim?
Yes.
I think this episode has some really cool information in it. So to recap, and there's a lot of information. So if your kids aren't listening, try putting yourself in their shoes. Check for distractions. Maybe offer clear choices. So no's not an option. It's like this or that, right? Stay calm and don't be afraid to parent. Like, I won't let you versus don't. So keep instructions short, like you said, Kim, and use positive reinforcement when they do listen. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Amen.
So already these are too many instructions.
Yeah,
so
I know.
So you've got to write them down, take what you want from this. It's all about understanding and finding the right balance, right? What works with you and your family between being firm and being flexible. Consistency, though, that's key, right? Some days will be better than others, and with patience and practice, you'll find what works for you and your family. Exactly. So let us know if you found some things that work for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So sorry that I rambled on and offered too many choices there.
I'm writing them all down. It's all good.
So thanks so much for tuning in today. If you've got any tips that work for your kids, we would love to hear them, right? Drop us a message below or email us your best getting my kids to listen strategies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we hope we've given you some tools to manage those frustrating moments. Just remember baby steps, deep breaths. Yep. You got this. And remember patience and consistency and creating that positive learning environment, right? Yep. Those are the goals. Super important. It's that consistency thing, though, right? When you say something, you need to follow through. If you let it slide just once, you're creating a whole mess, right? Yeah. And that just creates confusion the next time and makes it tougher. So
yeah, because you're giving them an argument.
Exactly.
You did it last time. Right?
You got this, moms.
So thank you all for tuning in. We hope you feel heard, supported, and empowered. We know you do your best. We really do. So please subscribe and share Ask Mom's link with your friends. If you have any questions or ideas for future topics, please email us at askmomstoday@gmail.com.
And remember, you're not alone. Until next time, take care of yourself.
You got this.